नमस्ते, सत श्री अकाल, वेलकम।
सत श्री अकाल।
कैसे हैं आप?
सब ठीक है जी।
जी, फूल जी, अभी हमारे साथ क्या बोलते हैं, छुमचेद भी ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं।
वेरी गुड।
बुलाते हैं स्क्रीन पे।
आइए।
वेलकम छुमचेद, वेलकम।
I'm in D2 hotel in Khao Yai.
Yeah, so we are live now. So let's start the show. Yes, we have IAT directors with us, Mr. Pool, Mr. Chumched Arif, Mr. Nikon Sajdev on screen, and let's start the show.
Yes, sir. May I?
A very good evening to everyone, and thank you, Uncle Papni, or Mr. Papni, Mr. Pool, and Mr. Chumched Arif. Today, for the first time, with Uncle Papni's initiative, we are going to do something different. Uncle Pool, can you please guide us and tell us what are we going to do today? What is the topic about?
The topic is about the digital transformation. You know, the world is now everywhere going digitalization. This is a new word which is being used worldwide. So our speaker is going to talk about on this subject that would be many talks on the digital transformation. So let us see how he says about this experience.
Before we go further, I want to know whether you know anything about digital transformation or something, anything about digital. That's what we are doing in our whole daily life, right?
Correct.
Number one, we are using phone, we are using internet, and we are using the banking. So we know the part only. More details we'll come to know from the speaker, from our guest
speaker.
But before we invite our guest speaker, Uncle, how is everything going with IAT activities in the past 1-2 weeks? I know you've been busy, and I think all the IAT directors have been busy with the new surge of COVID cases that have been coming up.
Yes, man. We've been getting lots of phone calls. Not lots of, but okay. Every day I'm getting 1 or 2 calls that okay, COVID. Indian people are already tested for COVID positive. So we've been sending the medicines. Whoever needs medicine, whoever needs any assistance, IIT is always there to support them.
Good.
On my side, what we've been doing is that a lot of our Indian community at the moment has been infected with the new strain of COVID, which is a very mild strain, and their symptoms are not very severe. So they've been calling me how to get help with doing home isolation. So everyone who needs help with home isolation, call 1330 and press 14. It will take you directly to a government official. This is 24 hours, and then put your name with them, and they will make sure that you get the right medication along with the food at home with the doctor's consultant at home. So that's 1330, press 14.
40.
Chumched ji, have you got any information about COVID or something?
Yes.
Any Indians?
COVID in Thailand is getting worse because more people are getting it. About 50 to 60,000 people are getting it, plus 80K. But then the government doesn't want to do anything about it because they wanted to create herd immunity. Since most of the population has already received third dose and waiting for fourth dose, so the government thinks that if people get COVID, they have to accept as endemic, and within 4-5 days, normally the symptoms goes away. Some people don't even have symptoms. So they're not so worried about it. They think that life should go on. But Malaysia is getting more scared in Thailand. There are about 25 to 27,000 people got infected yesterday. So that's alarming. So in Asia, COVID in Europe is getting less, but in Asia, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam are getting more and more COVID. And this was expected because after Chinese New Year holidays, people expected that in Asia more people get COVID. So it's not a surprise. So I think this figure is expected and it was anticipated. It was nothing shocking. So as long as it doesn't get more than 20,000, everything should be fine. But if it gets more than 20,000 or 25,000, then maybe something to be concerned.
Worse than this.
And what precautions are you taking, Mr. Chumched Arif? What precautions are you taking?
I had been very careful for 8-9 months regarding COVID. I had taken my 3rd dose. But now life has to go on as the government says. So I'm start coming out more often, meeting more people. But I try to avoid big crowd, big event, and to be safe, I'm taking my ATK test myself every 3 days, even whether I meet people who are infected or not, or if I'm in a risk area or not. I'm still taking tests every 3 days ATK to keep myself, satisfied.
Correct.
But I think any of us might get COVID now, because I think we are not as careful or as scared as when there was Delta. So we all, I think not only me, we all are start going out more, meeting more people, because we think we have taken 3rd dose. So we think we can handle it. That's what we think. So I don't think any of us are as careful as when Delta came. I don't know about other executive directors, Kun Nikon, Kun Pool, and Kun Papni. Are you also having the same thinking?
Yes.
I'll leave that to Mr. Pool. Uncle Papni, your mic is off.
Your mic is off, Papni.
Okay. I want Mr. Pool to reply on this one. I'm taking precaution. I'm hardly going out of home. But okay, when there is a work, we go, we take the precaution. ATK tests are regularly taken because my children are going out. They come back and we all 4 of us take the ATK test before going to any parties or coming home also. If we are not going out, we are at home. But once we are going out, make sure that we do the ATK test while going and while coming also.
Correct. You see, in my office, we have almost 62 staff, and every Monday and Thursday, we have ATK test. So all our staff have already taken 3 doses. So everybody is very careful so that we don't get any COVID patient available in our office. Everybody is very scared about this.
I want to say thank you to our president also that
can I say something
allowed us to do this one. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
The thing is that if we are right now, we are losing a lot of tourists from overseas, because I've come to Khao Jai. I went to other hotels in Bangkok last few days. All hotel manager complaining that even though we don't have 7 days quarantine, but business has been affected tremendously because many tourists are not ready to accept, to come first day test and go. Okay, that's fine. Again, 5th day they have to enter the hotel again and do test and go. So this 5th day, when the second testing of COVID is bothering a lot of tourists. So just because of that, many tourists are going elsewhere to Sri Lanka and India, Maldives, and other countries, because they think that our requirement is a bit complicated. First day, second day, they can accept. But if first day they suddenly have no COVID, and again they have to be under tension for next 4 or 5 days to get second test.
Yes, we know this one, and we talk about Thailand and our Indian community. We are talking about this one, no? Since our show is on digital transformation, I want to jump to
about India. You don't know about India, right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
So in India is all open now. India is welcoming all the people from every country without any quarantine now, and they might scrap PCR tests also.
Okay.
But people from India are very eager to come to Thailand. And what I meant is now many Indian people are hesitating to come to Thailand because of this requirement. A lot of Indians want to come here.
Next week we'll make a meeting for you with. Next week we'll make a meeting for you with the Ministry of Health, Public Health.
Let's talk on a digital transformation now.
Okay.
So let's.
Let me start.
I just wanted to ask on a digital. Chumchedji, do you know anything about digital transformation? What is anything digital? You do the transfers and this thing, right? So let's learn from our guest speaker.
Sure, I'm very curious also, because I also don't know much about digital transformation. It's a big hit now. Everybody talk about it, wherever they go. But since I don't have that much knowledge, I would appreciate if I can be enlightened and by today by our guest speaker, I'll have more knowledge.
Thank you.
All
Shall I?
right. So, yeah,
Okay.
just you have anything before we call our guest on a screen?
No, I introduce Dr. Harpreet in few
Ji.
lines.
So let's, before I bring him on, I have a small slideshow. Let's go.
Thank you.
Yeah. Jay.
Haji.
So let's welcome him on a screen. Yes, Dr. Harpreet ji. Yes, Mr. Paul.
Good evening to everyone. Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you very much for the invitation. I'm really looking forward to share with the community, as what you said really well on this buzzword, what is digital transformation and what's happening. So thank you very much for having me on this panel today.
Yes, Harpreet ji. Basically, people, they wanted to know what is a digital transformation. What you're going to talk on this one. So can you just brief it on? Okay, before that, I wanted to introduce yourself also. That what you are doing. First, I thought the doctor, mostly I bring doctors only on Sundays for health doctor. So now you are a wealth doctor.
Definitely. Well, my background has been into education and psychology. I finished my undergraduate in education and psychology before furthering my career in public health. So my master's and my Ph.D. was in public health. I graduated from Chulalongkorn University with honors. I started my career off as an educator, as a teacher, before I moved on to work as a researcher at the Ministry of Public Health, before I ventured out into the education technology sector. Currently, I am the managing director of Voxy Thailand. We are an education technology company providing an online and personalized language solution. Our solution combines the like of AI technology, certified tutors, live instruction, real-world content to personalize the learning experience as per the organization and learners' requirements and needs. So very much into the digital sector of education.
Okay.
So is digital transformation only related to education, or at the moment, everything? I mean, everyone, I know it's on a lot of people's mind, especially Mr. Poole, because he's been looking into cryptos and how to get into the world of digital, how to make money out of it. You know, Mr. Poole is the finance person in our committee and of our society, you know. So what is digital transformation for lay people like us? What can we do with it?
Well, excellent question. Can I please ask if my screen is being shared? Is my presentation on?
Yes, please.
No, not yet. Okay, now we're on.
Excellent. So this evening, I would like to take this opportunity to share with the community what is digital transformation, what are innovative, like new innovations in various sectors, not only education alone, but I would also like to take this opportunity to share a little bit about digital solution trends, our solution, and perhaps we can end it off with a little roundtable discussion. So as what everyone over panel wants to know what digital transformation is, perhaps if we first look at the textbook dictionary of digital transformation. So digital transformation is defined as the integration of digital technology into all areas of a business, fundamentally changing how you operate and deliver value to customers. Seems a little bit very, very vocabulary-rich, but I'll give you a simple example. Let's think of us when we were growing up watching movies. What do? We went to a video store, grab a cassette, grab a DVD, and so on. But how are we watching movies today? I would say majority of are turning into Netflix. And that is a great example of bringing entertainment to your palm. If you look at Netflix example, we will understand that it started out as a very small mail order service, but it disrupted the entertainment industry. So yes, they have transformed entertainment in a way. Let's move away from Netflix and let's talk about perhaps the banking sector. Being in Thailand today, we know that last year alone, over 200 bank branches were closed. I mean, I would say they were closed down. And also that's not because of COVID, but because of a different reason. Look at Kasikorn Bank today. They invested and opened a new arm, Kasikorn Business Technology Group, with the only one aim to disrupt the finance industry. And today, the K-Bank mobile app is the most used banking app in Thailand. You no longer need to go to a bank to do your transaction, but you can do it from your palm because you have that K Plus mobile application. That is digital transformation of banking industry.
Wow. Okay.
I give you another example. Just now, our gentleman was talking about cryptocurrency. That's something very, very new. Did you know that there is an 18 billion investment from Siam Commercial Bank into one of the Thailand cryptocurrency exchange firm, Bitcup? $18 billion were just invested to acquire 51% of Bitcup. Again, that is the amount of investment we're looking into the digital asset world. The digital transformation is happening everywhere. Even looking at the crypto or the blockchain technology, we also see large banks like Bank of Ayutthaya, Bay investing a lot of money. You look elsewhere, $8.1 billion were invested in within 1 year into the finance industry just to transform the services. Perhaps we can look into the education sector. Back then, a couple of years ago, nobody would have believed that our kids, my children, has to go to school online. The perception was always that does online study works? But in this past 1-2 years, there was no other option, but everyone had to study online. So companies that were ready to transform their educational services online were actually growing. That's why year to year, we see in the education technology industry, there is a 27% growth across the industry. This was never seen before. You look at logistics today. When we think of logistics as a Thai person, we think of Thailand Post, maybe Panikon. What do you think? We hear the word logistics. Thailand Post. You want to send something to your cousins, to your friends, to your clients, to your customers, you walk to Thailand Post. Today, you don't have to do that. There's carry services, there's ship hop services. You just click on an app. They come to your doors, take your post, deliver it to door. Again, this is digital transformation in the logistics industry.
Great.
I give an example of security. If we remember back then, there were a lot of investment when it comes to facial recognition. Companies were spending millions of dollars on facial recognition. Today, we don't need that anymore. Companies, or even we ourselves, can use facial recognition services for as cheap as $15 thanks to Microsoft. Again, bringing digital into security, facial recognition. These are all examples or mere examples around us that we cannot escape. Digital transformation is happening and is everywhere around us. But there is a lot of misconception when it comes to what is digital transformation. How can we transform as a company? I think we need to understand one very significant thing over here. If you as a company wants to transform digitally, the mindset, the culture of the organization needs to change with it. We need to look at a growth of a company not as a linear growth anymore, but as an exponential growth. Most SMEs or even large corporate will be very happy with year-to-year growth of 20 to 30%. But when it comes to technology companies or companies who are transforming digitally, we need to look at exponential growth. How can we go from 100 to a million in less than 2-3 years? Earlier, I was using an example of BitCup. If I can still use BitCup as an example. BitCup is a digital exchange platform for cryptocurrency. 3 years ago, they had less than 200,000 users. That was 3 years ago. Today, they are having more than 2 million users. That's a 10x growth within 3 years. That's what we have to aim for when we think of a company who wants to transform a digital transformation. A lot of technology companies or startup world or digital world will think of the time it takes from founding to $1 billion in valuation. The word out there is unicorn. That company might be the next unicorn, but what's unicorn? Unicorn means when you reach a $1 billion in valuation. And BitCup was an example in Thailand. Flash Express, a logistics company in Thailand, is another example that has reached a unicorn status. So in a nutshell, it's just not about bringing technology into play, but it's also the business model of the company needs to change with it. The mindset needs to change, the culture needs to change, the way we operate needs to change. And with main one objective, to make life easier for customers, to make their services as seamless as possible for customers. That is the end goal. Companies who want to transform digitally need to look at. What can we do to make our services more seamless for customers using technology as a tool? I hope with that I've defined what digital transformation is. But if we look a little more, if you look at Facebook, the book that everyone likes to read, Facebook, of course. Facebook now has one of the largest users across the social platforms. And that could be a great tool for marketing as well. Because we don't need to market to individuals door to doors anymore. With one click, you can reach billions of people through Facebook marketing. So yes, digital transformation in the marketing sector is also there. There were around 2.6 billion monthly active users in the first quarter of last year. That's more than a quarter of the world's population. And with a single click, you can reach them all. Recently, a report on McKinsey mentioned that 70% of digital transformation initiatives fail. That's not a surprise. Because if you look into this digital transformation of the startup industry, you will realize that over 95% of digital companies actually fail. And if you look at the Harvard Business Review article that was published 2 years back, they mentioned that $900 billion went to waste. So for all the audience out there who wants to transform your company, transform your services, make sure you take the right step and make sure you're ready to transform. It's just not bringing technology into play. It's a lot more than that. What I always share with my audience, with the community, with the people around us who does similar business, I always say one thing. Before you transform, before you take any innovative action, please look at the data. What is the data telling us? What's the market telling us? And for the next few minutes, I would like to share my experience as the managing director of Foxy and what we have done with the data in the market. We know for a fact today, average screen time is increasing. Believe it or not, we're spending more than 3 hours daily on screen time. We also know that if you look at the data, we can also know that where and which countries are spending most time on their internet. So we look at the time spent per day using the mobile internet, and we realize that the Asia Pacific, especially Southeast Asia, spend a lot of hours on our personal devices. With that data in mind, then we probably have to think, what do we use our personal devices for? It's no surprise that we use them for social networking, we use them for entertainment, we use them for work, we use them to connect, we use them to play. So these are a few things we are actually doing every day, and these are all technology companies. So our company came up with a question: what if we could take 15 minutes each day to learn something new using our personal devices? Then we thought, what does all these applications back here have in common? Personalization. Imagine you're watching an episode, a series on Netflix. Before you even finish that episode or movie on Netflix, it's already recommending you what you should watch next. How was that possible? That was possible because all the time, what movies you were watching, what episodes you were browsing through were all data that the analytics analyzed. And then it gives you a recommendation or suggestion, because all these apps have something in common. Personalization. They see you as a unique person with your own set of unique interests and needs. So to all my audience, once again, keep this in mind. If you want to transform your company, if you want to step into digital transformation, see what data is out there. See the behavior, the habits of our customers. What are they like? What are they not like? What is most likely to yield to them? What not, before we come up with our further steps. So as us as a company of Foxy, we took this into account, personalization. And we know that with personalization, especially in education, we can leverage technology with the use of AI, which is the artificial intelligence. AI is all about ways of connecting people to computers, people to knowledge, people to the physical world, and people to people. So with that idea in mind, artificial intelligence in education, there are different levels of AI in education, but what the machine we used was the machine learning that drives the personalization. And with that in mind, we use AI to improve our services. But if you look across the industry, we also see similar things. Tech giants are using AI to improve our lives. How are we leveraging AI to improve educational experience? That was our main question we had within our company. How will we leverage AI to improve educational experiences? And what is similar, how we consume content today? Because when you look into education, studies have shown us that effectiveness in education depends on two-way learning. Browsing through the internet, listening to YouTube videos will, yes, give you knowledge, but it's not a true-way communication that will give you a stage to reflect that knowledge into practice. We realize that people around the world today are consuming stories, learning things through brief content. So that is what we call micro content, and brief content that fits into our schedule and matches our attention spans. Voxy uses this micro content to deliver lessons. So how does it translate into learning experience? If we're going to use brief content, learning should also be brief. That's why we have what we call as micro learning, personalized skills-based content. And that is another future of the education landscape out there. You're seeing countries like Stanford, MIT, investing heavily into micro learning, in micro teaching. And I personally believe that in the next few years, university will also go online. Majority of students will be preferring to study undergrad or even postgrad online. We've seen that trend among the postgraduate programs, but sooner or later, we're going to see a lot more in the undergrad program as well. If you look at further on the educational side of digital transformation, we will have to also look at the demographics and behaviors of the learners. And there's a lot of data out there. If you look at the Deloitte tells us that most people won't watch a video that's 4 minutes, longer than 4 minutes. And most people check up their phones up to 9 times in an hour. And 1% of a typical work week is all that employees have to focus on training and development. That means young professionals has less than 24 minutes to learn something new. So we realize that if we have to up our services or digitalize our service, it has to be short, it has to be efficient, it has to meet the new learner's behavior. Learning in 3 to 7 minutes. Working memory capacity and human attention spans are short. So we have to have it very targeted to micro-learning. We have to make it self-paced. And we gotta make sure it's flexible and accessible by all. That's why today our services is accessible to both the mobile phone, iOS and Android versions, and also the PC. Bringing all this in on the table, we ask further questions. How powerful would it be to use artificial intelligence and micro-learning to improve the learner's experience and outcomes? These were the basic principles that guide Foxy to what it is. With that in mind, we can also look at the market structure, the various industries out there, look at the market report, the digital market size by region, and these all data are actually available to us all. It's just a little more time that you have to dig into data, see what it is, see what it tells us. And it's not to our surprise at all that we're seeing a large increase in e-learning market from 2018 till today. And a lot of that increase is very saturated into Asia, into APAC, or even Southeast Asia. Looking at these regions, we know that the e-learning market, the education digital market in this region is going to grow. That's why we invested in this partnership with Foxy. And today we're so glad to share that we have over 6.5 million users or million learners worldwide. We have offices across the globe in New York, in Mexico City, in Singapore, in Thailand. The company was actually founded in 2010, and last year we were recognized by Forbes as the most innovative online English solution. Our vision is actually to transform the way people learn English while making quality language instruction affordable and accessible to all. You might be wondering, why did we launch Voxy in Thailand? It's simple. If you look at the education landscape in Thailand, you will find that the English proficiency index is very low. We scored 47, which is regarded as very low proficiency. 2020, even worse. We're now positioned at 64 out of 88 countries. We spent almost 20% of the national budget on education, yet we are among the lowest in the region. That tells us there's something that is not right. Inequality in education in Thailand is huge. Thus, we want to solve this, bridge this gap through our digital services. And we do that through 5 arms. We create course personalized to individual needs or organizational needs. Content that we use are authentic content. If you learn a language and you learn he is a boy, she is a girl, Peter kicks a ball, you're not going to use them in future. But if you use content from business, from Forbes, from Bangkok Post, from The Nation, from BBC, and transform this content into 15 minutes micro learning, shouldn't that be a better way to learn for young professionals where they can relate to what they learn? This is what we call the self-study that we provide all our learners with unlimited access to the platform. And we know that a lot of non-English speakers, even though if they have good language skills, they tend to lack the confidence in speaking. Why is that so? There's not a lot of Englishmen around us to use the language. So why don't we provide a stage where learners can use English on a daily basis? That's why we provide our learners with 16 group classes 24/7 anytime they want to use. I don't want to make this as a sales pitch, but it's very important. What I'm sharing away is that we're using the data given to us, the data from the education side, the data from the world, from the market, and come up with services or develop things that meets the requirement of the market. So that's why it's very important to understand the whole landscape before transforming yourself. But what we do is that we use this innovative technology, personalization, engaging, using methodology that's more effective, using real-world content, using skill-based content, and ensuring that whatever we provide, we must be able to measure. So we need to be able to focus on the return of investment as well. And whatever we provide to learners, like I said earlier, you need to make your customers happy. And for them to be happy, they want the experience to be seamless. So whatever you provided, it needs to be easy to use, easy to run. Furthermore about us, we ensure that whatever we provide, it's always developed, always improved. And that has to do with the learner's feedback, our customers' feedback. Again, if you transform your company, it's crucial to listen to the market, what your customers say. So it's important to always get the feedback. One more thing is very important. Whatever you provide, you must be able to scale it. If you're not able to scale your services, then you have not transformed your company. You must be able, like what I say, from 200,000 users to 2 million users in 2 years. Scalability is definitely a factor here. And of course, services have to save time and money. I wouldn't spend too much time on the platform itself, but our platform is very engaging with real-world content. We provide all our partners, all our clients, with ways to ensure they have the highest ROI, with features that they can look at the dashboard, analyze the data, see what's happening, what we can do to increase productivity, bridging the gap of offline and online, making sure that the methods we provide are of value. And in education, it's also very important that what you do in the education field, especially with the perspective in Asia, does it have a certificate? Do I get certified learning this? Are you studying this course? So because of that, we work heavily with the Ministry of Education, both in abroad and also in Thailand. Our features comes with the VPA, the Vocational Proficiency Assessment, where we can map your English to global standards, the CFR, the TOEFL, the IELTS, or the TOEIC. This is important. And I've said earlier, we are currently sitting at more than 6.5 million learners across 150 countries and more than 500 customers worldwide. We utilize technology in ways that we can connect teachers from around the world to learners around the world. Majority of our life instruction teachers are sitting across the world. That's also very much because we want to provide 24/7 access and ensure that all learners are provided with neutral accent where they can learn with British English teachers from England, from the UK, or English teachers from the States, or from Australia, and so on. Our solution is designed to meet the needs of companies with global teams that need to communicate in both written and spoken English. We provide a full assessment, unlimited content, group classes, private classes, basically a blended learning, which is also quite hyped in the education industry. We use innovative technologies. We have a full support service, a back analytics, free hands-on workshop, and some of our case study without going too much in details. But what we aim to do today in Thailand is to bridge the education gap in Thailand. That's why we are working with both the private and public sectors, with majority of work being with the Bangkok Metropolitan Education Office or the Ministry of Education in Thailand, and some of our partners in Thailand who has been happy with our digital services. And we always conduct surveys. Why do you choose us and not others? Again, it comes down to providing a full personalization touch, learning at scale, learning for real-world content, and program visibility. I hope this is an example that I want to share how we transform education digitally to providing a personalized online learning as an example. But if anyone has any further questions, you want to connect with me, you're welcome to do so. Here are my contact details.
Thank you.
Wow.
Excellent.
That is really enlightening.
I have one question.
Hanji, bataiye.
Dr. Harpreet, world is moving towards digital transformation. How it affects education, because it will be easier, but on other side, the universities are in difficulty because everything education is online. These are the after effect of digitization. What happened to the university buildings in the world? What is your opinion on this?
I believe that you can never take a teacher out of a classroom. Learning and teaching always involve a student and a teacher. But if we, through technology, through innovative tools, if we can provide teachers and students these tools to enhance learning, that would be very beneficial for all. You mentioned about the university. It's very true. University is actually facing a big challenge today, not only in terms of competition, but in terms of lower applicants. Every year, you will see even in Thailand or elsewhere, you're getting fewer applicants. But that's also because the market doesn't need undergrad anymore, maybe. But maybe they need people who have this skill set. So instead of finishing a degree, 4 years, you might spend a year or 2 years studying the skills required for that particular job. So what we see, universities are also providing micro certificates or mini programs as compared to a full 4 years degree.
Right.
It really depends on the skills that's needed. And I personally believe that you will see university growing with the digital arm. Yesterday, I was very fortunate enough to meet with one of the founding members of Siam University and Siam Technology College. The college actually invested quite heavily through partnership with DEPA to set up our technology center known as IAM Digital. So you will see a lot more universities doing that today. We also see Thammasat University joining hand with a startup company, providing masters through Skillane, an online learning platform. So you are seeing that. And if you look at the landscape in the United States, parts of Germany, Sweden, even UK, there's a lot of happening with the online degrees. So university will still be there, but their services will change.
One more question.
Okay, go ahead. Then I'll ask question.
You mentioned in your talk regarding proficiency in the language to teach Thai people and English language. But to catch up words, you have a separate teachers who are bilingual and teach the Thai people because their grasping and catching is very difficult in the English language. How do you overcome that?
Very, very important question right there. So yes, we are very fortunate to work with a team of over 35 bilingual team. So we have a team of teachers with us who bridge this gap by providing a very much personal touch. That could be through a face-to-face or online mini sessions or workshops they hold, just to ensure that learners who have a lower proficiency level are able to pick up. But the platform itself also is designed very personalized to individuals from all levels. For example, if I'm an intermediate level, before I use the platform, I get tested. And if the platform knows I'm at an intermediate level, every content is personalized to an intermediate level language learner. Maybe another person is an advanced level, so the platform is personalized for a person's English is an advanced level. So everything is very personalized, and that's where what we see education is in the future. A lot of personalization.
Thanks.
Okay, your company is only on education basis, or some other other sectors also?
We are actually a corporate and language training center, and if you look at the proxy, it's an educational technology company. So we provide an e-learning platform. I was fortunate enough to also have experience in the healthcare industry for a short while. But yes, we also see a lot of changes in the healthcare industry, especially during this COVID. There's a lot of telemedicine happening. That means you can consult a physician online, and they actually send you medicine through consultation online. So yes, we also see a lot of changes in the healthcare industry and other industry.
Okay, do you have any affiliated, like directly they have to contact you, or they can be a part of, suppose I have contact here. So if I bring direct to you contact, they can have some kind of understanding. There are many friends, they want to do their own business, like small business, but they get the affiliated, like get the commissions.
I think we have to discuss.
Or they contact you directly.
We will have to discuss more in depth, but I'm very happy to help out. Should there be anyone in our community, in the Indian Association, who wants to learn more about digital transformation, who wants to understand more about it, I'm happy to give advice, and they can reach me at the provided information.
All right. Okay. All right. Yes, Nikon, do you have any question?
Yes, I just got a question on my WhatsApp that as most of our Indian community here is in textiles, any idea or any example of how we can do a digital transformation in the textile industry?
I always speak to my friends who are also in the textile industry, and I'm always spoken to them. Why don't you do something that can transform this business? And a lot of times I hear, oh, we're selling online. We are doing selling online. That's a great step. You're actually providing your services online, but there's a lot more you can do than just selling online. So I'm sure there's a lot of opportunity to do in this area. And I've not, from my humble opinion, I've not seen a lot of players in this industry yet. And I believe there is definitely a lot of opportunity still in this industry.
Perfect. Dr. Papni, this was one off to you, something new that you wanted to come and try. And yes. I have learned a lot today. What about you, Mr. Poole?
I learned a lot. And so that we can pass on over.
And definitely, this is a stepping stone that, okay, IAT first time did this business channel. Usually we call the medical experts. Today we call one expert. I removed the word called medical, but IAT talk with the expert. All right.
It's a knowledge sharing. Knowledge sharing. Yeah.
Yeah. So now there are lots of things. No, many people, they want to know what is a cloud-based business. Everything has to be connected with the internet. The baseline is internet. We got to go through internet. There's a cloud business, cyber learning, digital learning, home learning, home appliances also used with this one. So there are lots of things to be learned, and there's a lot of scope. And what Facebook has introduced is metaverse. So you're gonna integrate your learning also through this metaverse.
Excellent question. We've not thought of that yet, but we see a lot of traffic happening on that landscape. If you look at the likes of Adidas, the likes of Nike, they already have their digital store set up on Metaverse. So yes, it's an exciting area, but we're not too sure, and we're not too sure if this is the right time to jump into it yet, as the data is still limited on that front.
Now, when Mr. Pool asked, the schools, when students are not going to the schools and colleges, what they do? The metaverse. You sit in a home like as we are connected with everyone, digitally connected. I mean, on the screen you can see you are together.
One more question.
Thank you very much, Gigi. Go ahead. We have 2 more minutes.
Sorry, because this is going to my question relating to my business. How insurance can play an important role in digital transformation?
Another exciting question, but I'm sorry to say I lack the expertise in the insurance world to answer that. But I can probably relate insurance to financial industry, and there's a lot of traffic happening in that. There are definitely areas where you can up your services or transform your services digitally, and perhaps even use the like of AI to play your part, connecting the people to the right broker, to the right package they're looking for, using some type of technology there instead of going through a lot of paperwork. But I'm sure there are areas, and I wish to see more in this front as well.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'd like to ask viewers also, if you have any question, you can send it through Facebook or YouTube, and we'll get to Dr. Harpreet, and we'll get the reply to you.
Sure.
Thank you very much. And with this one, I'd like to say bye-bye and see you again with a new episode.
Thank you.
रह गए आप और मैं